I was overweight and looked terrible, but AIDS helped me lose 46 pounds.
When I think about my money and how much I've spent, how quickly I spent it, and where it all went, sometimes I regret it, sometimes I don't care. If my wife knew the value of my collection, I'd need to be in your prayers. Some men like to gamble, some men like to race, some men like to party, to drink and fall on their face. But I've been collecting knives since the time before MySpace. Some are fixed blades and I have many that fold. Some go down in value, but some appreciate like gold.
All right, boys and girls, I think you know what that means. That means this is another video brought to you by the generous folks over at bladeandbeam.com. Our good friends over there stock both of these knives, so if you are interested in what I'm about to show you, you can go check them out over at bladeandbeam.com. A little bit more about them in just a few minutes. Today we're going to be taking a look at two offerings from Griffin Company, which is also known as combat beads. So the thing with the Griffin Company is they make a lot of various different EDC items, from lanyard beads to dump trays to bottle openers and fidget toys and knives. So here we're going to see two different examples of the same idea. These are both going to be the new X series knives, one being the fixed blade and another being the folder. Let's get that out of there. See what kind of goodies come with the fixed blade. You've got the black bead chain. I have a COA card, I'm assuming. Yep, I guess we can zoom in on that. And if you pause that, you'll be able to read everything about it. You get a cool sticker of the knife. You get that cool sticker. Boy, they like their stickers, don't they? Oh my goodness. Okay, and what this little guy is right here, it's called the ITP clip. So this converts your sheath into a pocket carry sheath. So this looks like this doubles as your pocket clip. So just like the pocket clip on one of your folders, that's going to clip onto your pocket, and then this attaches to your sheath. So that's kind of a nice idea. So you can carry this on the belt, I guess like a hillbilly with it hanging off your belt. Kind of wish that it had a rotate. Well, I mean, it doesn't rotate, but yeah, you can disassemble it and then re-screw it where it can be horizontal. That would be the way that I would want to carry it. You can also do neck carry by simply running the bead necklace through here, and then you can carry it upside down off your neck. In my opinion, this is a bit large for a neck knife. It is a nice small EDC knife, but for a neck knife, you're generally going to have something that's about half this size and weight. But I do like the fact that they're giving you so many carry options. There are not a lot of companies that think about that when they make a fixed blade. And when you're making a small EDC fixed blade, you do need to consider all the various ways people might want to carry it. I'm going to move that off to the side like we always do. We'll get to the folder here in a minute. So on the fixed blade, what are we looking at here? I'm going to lay this here. We're going to make room for the graphics. Overall length of 7 inches with a blade length of 2.875. Blade stock thickness of 118 thousandths of an inch thick. Handle length is 4 inches. Your handle thickness is 384 thousandths, so it's nice and slim. They didn't really do any contouring. They did, I'm sorry. It's very lightly contoured. You almost can't tell it's contoured. And then they did the chamfering, very wide, heavy chamfering around the outside perimeter. So it's actually pretty comfortable in the hand. I just felt like it was a little bit more flat than it is. And the steel on this, as you saw on the COA card, is going to be Magna Cut. These are hollow ground, so you're going to get a nice slicey blade out of this. And the hardware on here is T8. It's a pair of T8 pivots made in titanium. You know, it's funny. I still remember back, what was it? It was end of 2016 when I first started making knives, and I was using pivots for my fixed blades, and there was a small group of morons that just had to give me hell about it. They thought it was so awful and so cheap because it wasn't traditional. And I'm like, cheap? Are you kidding me? I'm like, it cost me $40 to screw the knife together. Instead of using 20 cents worth of pin stock, I was using titanium pivots. And it really is one of the best ways to attach scales to a full tang knife, especially if you want to do something like what these guys are doing. These are made for interchangeable scales. So what you're getting on here is a micarta. You guys know how I feel about micarta. We're not even going to bother to go there because my opinions are well stated on that. And it really has no reflection on the overall quality of this knife, so it doesn't matter. So if you decide, okay, today I want black micarta, tomorrow I want OD green micarta, the next day I want natural micarta, you can buy the additional scales and you can swap them out yourself very, very simply. It's just turning those heads and the barrel runs through. You just pull it out, line the new scales back up, drop them back in, and screw it back together. All the hard work has already been done when they made the knives because that's already fitted perfectly. You don't have to worry about how they fit. And you get to do it very quickly at home. Oh, I just realized that. Something else that is not often seen in today's fixed blades, you've got a hidden lanyard opening back here. So you've got a lanyard post where they have cut away from the tang and then cut away inside of the scales so that you can tie a lanyard on here, which a lot of people are really, really going to like that. Now, the designer of these his name is Keith Griffin. I am not familiar with him. He's a knife maker that I do not personally know. And he has these manufactured through Bestech, which was a great choice. Bestech makes really good, high-quality knives at nice, low prices. There are only a couple little nitpicks I have about this, and this is a testament to Blade and Beam that the Georges know how I am. They know that I can be a picky person. I don't love everything that's sat down in front of me, but I'll review something as long as there are enough positive things about it that, you know, merits that decision to put it out there. If this was a friggin' train wreck, it would never see the light of day under my lens, and it's certainly not. These are really both really, really good knives. That kind of bothered me when I first saw them, and I wasn't sure that I even wanted to touch these. Because I can be biased like that. I can form an opinion very, very quickly, and I try to be open-minded, which is why I'm sitting here right now recording this. Because after opening these boxes and playing with these just a little bit over the past week or so that they've been here, I actually came to really like them. And I think that they are a valid design that a lot of people are going to get a lot of good use out of. Are they game-changing? Are they miraculous little blades that I think absolutely everybody needs to own? No. They're not earth-shaking, but they're very nice. And for the needs of most people, and I'm not talking about collectors here, I'm talking about people that are actually going to carry and most likely use these knives, you're going to want these. Carryability, this is slim, it's very, very lightweight at 2.2 ounces. You honestly don't even know you've got it. It weighs about as much as the Kydex sheath. I'm also not crazy about the smiley here. Now, I'm trying to wrap my mind around that because these are obviously made by Best Tech. They're going to be machine ground. Okay, they're going to be done on a mill. They're probably done on a CNC. They're not hand ground. A Smiley at the ricasso, at the plunge, is generally a side effect of someone who's just learning how to hand grind knives. They're coming in with too much pressure on their plunges. So with that pressure, they're pushing in further than they are on the rest of the grind. Another reason it happens is if somebody is doubling back and they're going backwards and pushing into the plunge, a lot of times they'll angle it and push in as they're doing that and applying more pressure. Either way, that's usually a pressure thing, and that's generally coming in on hand grinds. Why they replicated that in their CAM program to machine it like that, I do not understand. Because that's an oopsie in a hand ground knife. That's something where the knife maker, as they're learning, we've all done it, we all started there, we've all made Smileys, and you learn your way past it and learn how to make a clean, straight bevel line. I don't get it. I don't know why they would purposefully design that into there. And I'm just going to have to chalk it up to that being a misinterpretation between either a hand sketch from Griffin or maybe a handmade prototype where he made a little oopsie when he ground it, and they just literally copied everything that was done, or they copied everything that was drawn onto a piece of paper if it was hand sketched. It's the only way I can see that mistake happening. For me, that's a no-go. That would irk me every single time I look at it. You know, it would be like buying a brand new TV and there's one dead pixel. Sure, it's one dead pixel out of a million, but once you've seen that dead pixel, your eye is always going to go to it, and if it doesn't immediately, your eye is going to search for it. Every time you go to watch TV, you're going to look to see if that dead pixel is there. Every time I go to pick this up, my eye goes right there to that plunge, and it bothers me. I can't stand that. Other than that, everything about this is really well made. Every area that your hand touches is cleanly rounded. Nothing sharp, not even back here on the spine. They have knocked down the spine really nicely. This gets precariously thin for a production knife, but it's a nice thin slicey hollow grind that's going to be a really damn good cutter. So overall, yes, I like it. Do I have my nitpicks? Absolutely. I do like seeing the sharpening choil on there. That's going to make a lot of people happy. One less thing for overly picky people to bitch about. Now, let's take a look at the matching folder. Their packaging is nice, by the way. For a production knife where it's a big manufacturing company that will obviously outsource to a packaging company for stuff like this, this is great. It's classy, it's nice, it helps you understand that you're buying something that a lot of thought went into and that a good amount of money went into. So first off, you're going to get a baggie of extra parts. You get some extra pivot bearings. It looks like does this have pivot collars? Yes. So you get extra pivot collars. You get an extra pivot assembly. You get extra body screws. And it looks like, is that a stop pin or is that going to be... No, well, it could be. That could be your internal stop pin right there, an extra one of those. Or it could be a pressure fit pin to help assemble the body of the knife inside. So you got lots of stuff going on there. More COA cards, more stickers. We don't need to go over the whole sticker thing all over again. All right. Once again, Smiley. Why? Yeah, man, I know that bothers me more than it probably should. To someone who has never ground the knife before, even if they may not even notice it, but it may not bother them as much as it bothers me. There's no way I could pay money for that and carry it, even though, and I hate saying that because, man, this thing feels good. This is just about the perfect size for me. While I'm saying that, I should probably go ahead and do the specs on that as well. Overall length of 8.375 inches. Blade length of 3.5 inches. Really, really good sizing here. Your blade stock thickness is 134 thou. So a little bit on the thin side, especially for a hollow ground blade, but this is going to be a great slicer. Handle thickness is just over 1/2 inch at 528 thousandths. This is also done in Magna Cut. And just like the fixed blade, it's going to be a hollow ground drop point, and your pivot is also going to be T8. There's no way. This also weighs 2.2 ounces. There's no way that can be right. It can't be the same. It's not. It's heavier than the fixed blade, but they are listed as being the same weight. And that could be a mistransposition on behalf of Blade and Beam on their website, but I don't know because they typically don't make mistakes. But this is just a tick heavier, maybe 2.6 ounces. I mean, it's a negligible difference. Pocket clip is a very nicely designed sculpted titanium pocket clip in the matching bead blasted finish to the bolsters. I love me a bolster lock. You guys know that. I'm a huge fan of bolster locks. Man, if this were carbon fiber, I'd probably be all up in this for the $335 price. I like it a lot. And that also means something because another thing I've been very vocal about is I flat out despise front flippers. There are no redeeming qualities to a front flipper. Yet, because of the quality of jimping here and the perfectly tuned detent, I'm able to flick this quite easily. Even backside index flipping. So yeah, would I much have preferred a standard flipper on this or just being a manual opener? Absolutely. Because for somebody like me that doesn't like using a front flipper, I don't want that ugly, awkward thing sticking off the back of the knife when it's closed. Overall, it's a very sleek, very clean design. I do like how narrow and slender this is. And I could say the exact same thing for the fixed blade. I like how narrow and slender that is as well. Let's take a quick second here to talk for just a moment about bladeandbeam.com, who were kind enough to supply these for me to be able to create some content around and give you guys a look at. And I'll be right back after that. bladeandbeam.com, where the adventure begins. Available 24/7, 365, but brand new drops happen every week on Friday. Knives, lights, hanks, and pretty much everything you can think of for your EDC needs. Use the link below in the video description and my discount code and save some money on every purchase. Thank you to Blade & Beam for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get back to the content. Okay, so it's not often you get the opportunity to have a perfectly matched set folder and fixed blade. The few times that you're able to do that, and you know that you like the design, don't pass it up, man. I think this is a bitchin' little set. Aside from the couple of gripes that I have, I like everything else about them. The action on this folder is fan-friggin-tastic. The feel in the hand is fantastic. The jimping up here on the spine of the blade, also fantastic. It's very grippy without being overly sharp. Once again, hidden lanyard opening at the rear of the knife here in the titanium backspacer. Damn, if Best Tech didn't just knock that out of the park. But again, I have to go back to, is this something that is seriously lacking in your collection? Probably not. Is it that unique of a design where you have to jump on it because it's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing that's coming around? No. But what I do see it as is a very solid EDC choice. I don't see either one of these as being a hard use knife, even though they're Magna Cut. You have, as I mentioned earlier, a precariously thin tip. So it is going to be super stabby. I like the appointments like the pivot collars, nicely done. I like the textured ribs on the lock, so your thumb drops into the scallop and doesn't fly off. And I like the sculpting that they chose to do on here as well. And by the way, just like on the fixed blade, this is an interchangeable scale system as well. So you can buy additional scale sets for this knife, just like you can for the fixed blade. And you can very easily change out the look yourself. Now, I hope it's something that they do a lot of support on over time and offer you a lot of various materials and finishes. How great would it be to have carbon fiber during the work week and maybe mother of pearl for church carry or something like that? Right now, what I saw were very basic options, micarta, carbon fiber, things like that. Nothing crazy, not like FET carbon or camo carbon, just very basic. Problem was, on Griffin's own website, everything was sold out. You couldn't buy any additional scale sets. So I would say this. If you end up shopping for these knives, if you fall in love with these and go, I absolutely must own one of these, go over to Griffin's website and just double check and make sure if the reason you're buying this is partly because of the interchangeability, go check and see if they actually have some. Because I've only had the opportunity to look once. Is that the one and only time that they've ever been sold out? That's entirely possible. Or are they perpetually sold out? If that's the case, that could be a source of aggravation for you. So I would double check that before finalizing your order. Anyway, if you've been curious about the quality of the Griffin Co knives, I'll tell you this, typical Best Tech quality, silky smooth action, perfectly tuned detent, perfectly centered blade, which it helps if I focus the camera, rock solid lockup, no blade play in any direction. The construction quality is exactly what you want in this price range. Finishes are exactly what you'd expect in this price range. So Griffin chose a good manufacturing OEM to represent their products. Good on them. All right, I'm out of here for now, guys. Thank you so much for joining me as always, and I'll see you on the next video.